I wanted to take a quick look at this music video that Taylor Swift has brought out called Look What You Made Me Do, which is another classic depiction of Jezebel, and actually which I've seen a lot of people touch on the monarch mind control, shattered split persona programming. So if you want to go and see a breakdown of this video on that level, that there's many on YouTube. But I'm going to go a little bit further today to show you more of the biblical side, because these things always run in tandem with each other. And it's incredibly sad, because this is the Antichrist. I mean, you only need to look at the lyrics to see it's basically Apollyon the Destroyer, this female version of Baphomet singing from the pit. Look at this. I don't like your kingdom keys. They once belonged to me. You asked me for a place to sleep, locked me out and threw a feast. It's like sympathy for the devil, through a feast that reminds me of the Last Supper. So we start on that storm scene, which we've seen many times, in the grave, the graveyard. Maybe this is a reference to maybe Sheol in the Bible. Remember, this is about this Antichrist figure rising from the pit. This is all sung in rebellion of the Father. It's just like, I don't like the games you make me play, the fool. The role you made me play. The fool. You made me play the fool. This is literally like personifying the voice of the devil from the pit. So do you see what I'm saying here? This Antichrist figure rising from death. And then coming into the jewelry, the diamonds, that depiction of Lucifer. So this is that Lucifer figure yet again. It's that Lucifer figure rising from death. Lucy in the sky with diamonds. This is Luciferian propaganda. This is that false Christ figure with snakes on her rings. So, no, I don't like you. So here she is in her diamonds. You see the mirrors and the portals opening like a veil. Look, you see that? It's opening like a veil, an inversion of Christ, ripping the veil. Oftentimes blasphemes in these inverted copycat ways. You see the way they open there? And we go into this scene which is just like a counterfeit Holy of Holies. So we've got the veil. If you know your Bible, you'll understand what's going on here. The veil is ripping, and we're going in to a counterfeit Holy of Holies, a Luciferian, Freemasonic counterfeit. So notice we're in like a womb situation here. We're underground. We're in a place where there's no natural light, like a Freemasonic temple, and you have black and gold everywhere. It's that alchemical reference, this Kabbalistic false Antichrist scene with her on the throne, very blasphemous, in a red dress. So she's playing that Lucifer devil figure on the throne with all of these snakes going up. It reminds me of Egypt, like you had in the Bible, the false counterfeit miracles of Egypt. These are lying signs and wonders. This is plastic, this is false, this is a copy from hell. Remember, Jesus, the true Jesus Christ, is on the throne in heaven. This is an upside down world in a hellish place. And notice on the pillars here, you actually have et tu brute. Et tu brute. Can you see that? Et tu brute. What does that mean? It's a Latin phrase meaning "and you, Brutus," made famous by its occurrence in William Shakespeare's play Julius Caesar, where it is uttered by Roman dictator Julius Caesar to his friend Marcus Brutus at the moment of the former's assassination. The quotation is widely used in the English-speaking world to signify the unexpected betrayal by a person such as a friend. Is this to do with Judas? Even here, look, around the skull heads, et tu brute, on the sides of the throne. I mean, it reminds me of Skull Hill, just an inversion of Christ, antichrist, worship of death. For it looks very Roman Catholic too, which I'll back up later, that there's more Roman Catholic symbology. And look at this, like the Hermes, staff of Hermes, this counterfeit miracles, false healing. The staff of Hermes, which represents healing, apparently. And you can see behind her, on the sides of her throne here, an arrow, which reminds me of Nimrod, the hunter, the archer. The arrow is actually going through the figure of 8, like the Ouroboros. A figure of 8, so the arrow cracking through time, the golden age, a counterfeit of the millennium. Look at this, the black sun, the sun rays symbolism, that is in the Roman Catholic Vatican. I've seen that many times. So you often see this false religion symbolism appearing, and interesting is in that she's now got a cup of tea, again a cup of tao. We've been through this before, like drinking the cup of tea, the cup of filth. Tao is the cross, the ancient form of the cross. Look at that. We've watched the other videos. I'm not going to keep going through the same things, but this is pouring the cup of tea. The snake is pouring the cup of tea, the deceiver. So she's got a cup of tea. This is the whore of Babylon on her throne. So we've got these two lampstands. This is mimicking the book of Revelation, and we've got that devilish figure on there. Look what you made me do. You notice here how she's doing everything on purpose, that these different altar personas of her, this is all Taylor Swift. She intentionally does it. Look what you made me do. Well, you intentionally did it. This is another mimicry of this Jezebel persona characteristics, of this double-tongued, double-minded mind control that they're putting into people. Look what you made me do. Very childish, you know, because you did it on purpose. You know, you deserve exactly what you get if you do that on purpose. Look what you made me do. This is mind control. Sorry, I'm trying to get to the depths of this mind control and to warn people what they're actually putting into people's heads, which you see manifesting in our society. So the cracking through time, which we've seen on the back of her throne there, cracking through the figure of 8, and then what's the chances that you see the smashing again. And look at this golden watch that comes into the picture. So you've got the cracking through time and the time symbolism and the smashing coming onto it. This is about breaking through the veil for their false Christ, Kabbalistic self-love Christ, the false one. There's only one true Christ, and he was selfless, and he turned down the riches of this world. So you see what this is about. It's about indulgence instead of abstinence. It's about pride instead of humility. It's fake, and it's leading to death. Look what you made me do. And look, she's getting attention for just doing that on purpose, a publicity stunt. I mean, how many times do we see this in our society now? Just attention seeking here, driving into the lamppost on purpose, and then she gets a crowd of photographers taking pictures of her for doing it. This is not just a celebrity thing. This is just something we see in everyday society. And this lady who no longer wants to be feminine, she is shaving the sides of her head, and that is all part of it. About being this fierce tiger. And this is what the Antichrist is bringing with it. All the things you see here. This should be a good indication for avoiding what this agenda is producing. That's not of God.
But you just made me die.
So yeah, then we get this other persona, you know, in this cage, again like the canary, about breaking out of the cage, the same symbolism. And this is where she's singing those lyrics. I don't like your kingdom key, because they once belonged to me. This is the devil. You know, this is representing the feminine side of Baphomet, the devil, Apollyon the Destroyer, from the pit, like in the book of Revelation, singing about these kingdom keys used to belong to me. Because remember, Jesus Christ died on the cross and he defeated the devil. And he holds the keys in the book of Revelation. Jesus himself opens the seals. The Babylonian thing is constantly ritualizing this stuff, but it does not hold the key. It's only up to God. So she's singing in this cage is about breaking free, which is the same symbology about ascension from the abyss, from the pit. Locked me out and threw a feast. So this seems to be, oh look, it actually seems to have a kind of weird representation, mirror of the Last Supper, with the disciples and the false Christ in the middle. Look at that. And you locked me, and you know, this, it's like the Lucifer singing, you locked me out and then had a feast. In the book of Psalms it says, you prepare a table for me in the midst of my enemies. Okay, so here we go. Now we switch to a technological place, but all this is showing is the tomb. The stone rolled away from the tomb. This is another inversion, mockery, blasphemy of Christ. This is another copying. Remember, the Jezebel constantly copies. But look at that, absolutely insane. All of this symbolism about breaking free from the pit, and it is all literally staged around Jesus Christ and the symbolism from the Bible, that the true Christ. I mean, does this not show you that he, the real Christ from the Bible, the real Yeshua, is the truth? Because it constantly symbolizes it and blasphemes. That's the tomb. Remember that, like in the book of Daniel, this thing will elevate itself above everything that is called God and be proud, blasphemer, sacrilegious. It's all about money and self-love. Remember, this is all also symbolizing mind control too, which they're doing on people. What I find interesting here is you see here she's burning money. This is about that double speak, that double-mindedness. You see in this scene she's burning money. Or if you scan forward a bit, you can see she's then coming into a palace, into riches, and celebrating that. So we've got literally within a few seconds a contradiction of burning money and then celebrating money. This is the double-mindedness. This is the confusion of Babylon. Mixed messages, confusion. Look what you made me do, whilst purposely doing it. So it should help you, even on a relational level in society, to beware of this mindset, this delusion which is sweeping over so many so strongly now. So masculinizing women, a domination of women, which is an inversion of the commands in the Bible, in marriage, etc. From the Garden of Eden, the dominatrix, look, turning all these women here into just sex objects and dominatrix. Your Father in heaven loves you, doesn't want you to be an object like this Babylonian agenda does. So this Babylonian agenda tells you it's not sexist, but actually is. You know, it is actually extremely derogatory towards women. And look at this. We've got these dimensional windows. So coming through the dimensional windows, red and blue, this is a dimensional thing because it's coming from the abyss. Look, feminizing men, this is just absolutely ridiculous. Look at this. Absolutely ridiculous. And you see this in so many ways in movies now, subtle or not, and music videos, the domination of women over men and feminizing the men, masculinizing the woman. That is part of the agenda. Look, she's on the tea, the cup of tea, on the cross, on the pyramid, top of the pyramid, she's mimicking Jesus Christ. And it's a horrible, horrible blasphemy. And all of these bodies piled up are her, are different faces of her. So it's that complete self-worship, She's king of her own world. She's king of herself. She's king of her own universe. Look at that. She's king of her own universe. All that really matters is her. She's atop of the pile of her split personalities. So then she's on top of this. Look, mimicking the Christ figure. This is a blasphemer. This is Lucifer, pretending in the abyss, the Christ, false Christ of the abyss, with the smoke of the pit all around. It's awful, isn't it? And people are really, you know, buying this stuff up, lapping this stuff up. Look, the snake on her fingers. This is the deceiver, Lucifer in the garden.
The old Taylor can't come to the phone right now because she's dead.
So her old self is dead, and she's now programmed into this mind control world and completely shattered.
What you mean?
Monarch programmed with a cup of tea. Monarch programming. Doing the Illuminati secret society symbols. Look at this symbology, the power of the lady over the beast. Like the woman riding on the beast, the whore of Babylon. Riding on the bull, it's the same symbology. With a fierce cat there on a leash. That's essentially woman over man again. Woman over the beast. Portraying all men as abusers and beasts while this continues. And oh, it's terrible, isn't it? Those snakes look like wings. Look, these snakes coming out look like wings. This golden cube, mimicry of Revelation, the false Christ, the golden age. Look at that, the power of the woman. Feminazi agenda. Look, demasculinizing all the men to look very feminine and masculinizing the woman to look masculine. It's offensive to everyone. It's just unnatural. And look, this plane in the hangar again, the planes of existence, and the fractured personality of this lady in the video. And this is what the spirit of Antichrist is bringing with it to this world. Broken people. Remember, Jesus is the only true saviour.